Erik, welcome to the show, my man. We're going to dive right into things and we're going to hit with a big one. So, before you even hired an associate, you were running 1,000 patient visit a week by yourself, which honestly, this sounds astronomical to me considering my wife just the other day was not to talk shade about my wife, but like she's a little stressed about like 200-300. And I know there's a lot of doctors out there that are trying to hire for somewhere in the 300-400 range, and yet somehow you were doing this solo. Take us back to what that week looked like and how you were able to pull that off essentially.
Yeah, that's funny. I did this for like 3 years by myself, which is crazy. I wish I had videos of back then that I could go back and watch of what it was like then. But what I remember, it wasn't stressful, which is the interesting part. Like you would think the memory would be like, "Oh my gosh, it was chaotic and stressful and like everybody was burnt out." It was so fun. Like
Hmm.
what I remember was a blast. And it's almost like when you go to a busy restaurant and you know there's going to be an hour wait every time you go, you're excited to go because it's going to be awesome. And there was a 45-minute wait all shift, every shift. And we closed at 7 and I would adjust till 7:30. Open at I remember the afternoon shifts I would try to see like 2:20 to 2:40 and we were open from 2 to 5. And I would open the door 15 minutes early just to try to get as many people in as I could prior to the shift. But efficiency mattered. Like every step, every button click, uh, every like hand movement that I did, how I communicated. It was just really down to the most minute details that most people probably don't even think about
Hmm.
because every second mattered. And like if I spent 10 more seconds doing one thing times 240 in that one shift, I just burned 20, 30 minutes doing something that I could have been serving more people. So I just remember it being really fun, and we had it streamlined, the best we could. But it was a tiny office too. It was only 1,300 square feet, so everybody was like on top of each other. There was some shifts where people were waiting outside. There was nowhere to sit, like in the waiting room. But it also created lots of energy in the office, and I think that's one thing that's hard to emulate if there's not a lot of people in there. They just start talking to each other and sharing their stories and reading your stuff on the walls because they're there for a while and they see kids going around. It just creates this culture that makes everybody used to it. So if there was a 45-minute wait today in the office and how it runs now, people would be like, "I'm leaving," they'd be all pissed. Well, back then that was just the expectation, and everybody else was doing it, so they were kind of like, well, if everybody else is doing it, this is just how it works.
Interesting. So are you saying everybody else was doing it as in other chiropractors in your area? We're having long
Oh,
wait
no, no,
lines?
I mean, like, patients. Like,
Oh,
if
okay.
a new patient was just started,
Got it.
their expectation was set by
Got it. This is how
everybody
it's
else.
run at this practice. Expected.
Correct.
Got it. What would you say would be like the handful of things that were even making that possible? Because most doctors cap out way before that number. How like what were the handful of things that you guys were doing that obviously most other chiropractors aren't able to figure out?
So first, it's not this is interesting because over the years as I've talked about this, I think success looks like something different for everybody. So I think in our profession, for a long time, high volume docs, 1,000 a week was like the goal, and if you didn't hit 1,000 a week, then you weren't good enough. And I think some people it's impossible. Maybe it's a technique thing, maybe it's whatever. And success to them is 300 a week or 250 a week or a profit margin or like whatever. So I think in chiropractic, we really have to get rid of the comparison game, and your success might not be the same as somebody else's. So in our office, 1,000 a week was kind of our target. We were just head down doing anything we could get, whatever we had to do to get there. Ask me your question one more time. I just lost my train of thought.
I'm just curious as to what the handful of things, or I guess I'm trying to narrow down the biggest levers, right? Because I think anyone would understand, yes, it has to be incredibly streamlined and you can't waste a single movement or a moment, but
Yeah,
there's got to be some, like, it's like 80-20, right? Like, what is the 80?
yeah. Lifetime family wellness care. I'd say that was like the biggest one. We saw the whole family, and we live in an area where there's big families. So for example, when we opened on August 1st, 2011, we had 13 patients booked that week. And from those 13 patients, we were at 300 a week in 3 weeks. So one of them had 7 children and a spouse. So instead of signing up one guy with low back pain, we signed up a family of 9, and they started at 3 times a week. So there's like 27 visits from one guy. So seeing the whole family and making it possible for a whole family to afford chiropractic care, the counter side of that is, to be profitable, you got to see a lot of people. But that also allowed us to grow really fast, because when you see a family of 9, the guy with low back pain, if it takes a little bit longer for him to get better, he just saw that his kids' headaches and asthma is improving, or his wife's like menstrual cycle stuff is improving. So they have testimonials and insight in their own family to encourage them to keep going. And the retention on the whole family unit just lasts longer and is a little bit easier because of that education interfamily. And so I think that's how we were able to really grow faster, is whole families, and then just people telling people. Uh, and we would tell them, people that we don't know. And we were brand new to this community. We didn't know a single person. We had never lived where we lived before. We knew nobody. And so we just shared that with them, that, hey, we're on a mission to reach people, and people we don't know. If you could share your experience here, that'd be great. And they did.
Do you think this would have been possible in other cities, or do you think it was highly dependent upon more family-oriented large families?
I think it could be possible in other cities. I knew like 3 other friends that did it at the same time all over the country.
Hmm.
Most of them did it with families too, seeing families.
Did you lean into that as the owner, or did it just happen organically that families wanted to come there? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I could imagine a scenario where maybe it was just like a single guy or something, or a sports athlete or something like that. Did you like? Obviously, I'm sure you weren't like intentionally weeding them out, but was there thought around that, right? About like how you're better serving families?
Oh yeah, definitely. We were targeting families for sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we
Uh,
we we, we intentionally, once you know the truth about chiropractic care, if you're a dad, like, how could you not get your kid checked?
mhm.
Like, and so we had that conviction, and we had 2 kids at the time when we opened, and we wanted to be able to have regular chiropractic care for our family and make it possible. And so we just wanted to create a place that made that possible for other people too. But I also think it made us inclusive of everybody else. I think it'd be almost harder to specialize in sports, but also be inclusive of families. Whereas if you specialize in families and everything's geared around families, it's also inclusive to anybody. Like, I could see 100-year-old lady. I remember there was one day that we saw a 4-day-old infant and a 100-year-old. I
Damn.
just remember that stuck out in my mind as like, this is probably the biggest contrast. And I told the lady that was 100. I'm like, this is the gap of people I just saw today. A
Yeah.
couple hours ago, there was a 4-day old, and you're 100. That's kind of crazy. So we definitely intentionally targeted families.
From a business perspective, what does it actually mean to target families? Like, who's the decision maker, and how does one do that? Especially even now today. Like, let's say an owner knows they have an opportunity with, we'll say, the local families in their area. What does that actually look like?
You got to make it easy for them.
Hmm.
Like, most businesses are not family friendly. Like, the environment isn't family friendly. The mom's just stressed out that the kid's going to wreck something, when you go in there, because they're just running around like crazy. And I mean, I remember some of our initial Yelp reviews. People were like, if you like Christian music and ADHD kids running all over, then this place is for you. I'm like, that pretty much describes the practice. I'm like, thank you for your review. It was a 1 star.
Oh,
And she
jeez.
never came back. But I think looking at your practice around, okay, if you're a family bringing in a bunch of kids, is it efficient? Can the whole family get evaluated at the same time in one room? Like, is it even set up to do that? And can do they have to come 6 different appointments over the course of like 6 weeks? And it's just like not even possible. And most families are busy. They have teenagers to infants. and they're in sports and they're in school. Their schedule changes every summer to every fall. So are your hours set up and your capacity set up to see families after school, during school? Are your summer schedules different to see families? Are you open early in the morning? Are you open Saturdays? Like, really, it's the whole design of the experience making it possible for families and larger families that are really busy. And a lot of what we built with Sked coming out of that was just convenience. Like, how do we make this more convenient for you to find times that work in your schedule and commit to a schedule of adjustments, even though your life is crazy and unpredictable?
Hmm. Can we double tap on that for a moment? I guess you hear a lot about niche practices, right? But typically, when you hear niche practices, you hear pediatrics or sports or yada yada. But if I'm hearing you correctly, you're basically saying you had a niche practice around families, around family care, like hours, your design of your clinic, the all of it, right? This was all built around specifically families. Is that correct?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I like it. I guess I've never fully thought about that because I feel like typically when you hear family care, you just assume general, right? Like we take anybody, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's technically in a family,
Yeah.
but there's obviously a layer deeper to that.
Yeah, there is. And uh it's very involved. Like, even your reeval process and your paperwork. Like, when you have a family of 6 and you want the mom to fill out 6 separate reeval forms
Hmm.
and refill the same thing out on every one for, like, address and phone number, and, like, that's not convenient for her. She's like, "Screw this, I'm not coming in." So, like, we had to adapt a family reeval form that had, like, everybody's name on it, but then, like, sections that she could make it. So all of it was around, how do you just make this super convenient? And the nice part was, if you did it for a family, it also worked for the individual, like, in the same way, just slightly different.
Can we talk a little bit briefly about this super buzzword of burnout? I think there's a conception around a high volume clinic always eventually leads to burnout and low patient satisfaction. I wanna hear your thoughts on that. Where do you stand on that?
Uh, this is all about who the person is, and their mission and their drive and why they're doing it. Like, if my core, like, let's say I take a chiropractor and he's a business guy and his core mission is to build a profitable business, like, that's his main driver. He's going to hate having a high volume practice because it's busy. Like, it's not super chill all the time. You can make a lot of money doing both sides of it. You can make a lot of money seeing a least amount of people too. But our core mission was, we just knew there was people out there that desperately needed chiropractic care, and we didn't want our practice to have a waiting list or some bottleneck that, like, we physically couldn't see any more people, so you can't come in. And I think there's this misconception that uh, like, there isn't a maximum number of people that are available to come into your practice as a chiropractor. Like, there's way more people out there that need your services than you're serving today. But I think you only will see and you only attract what you've built capacity for. So if you're at 200 a week and you are stuck at 200 a week, it's not because there's not more people out there that want to come see you that aren't, or they're like, you didn't run out of people that need chiropractic care. You ran out of your ability to scale and grow your clinic. And, like, usually it's between the doctor's ears on what's possible. Because if you came into our office today, it's still seeing 1,000 a week, the one clinic, 500 in the other, you'd be like, this is the chillest place ever.
Hmm.
It's not chaotic at all. Like, we just saw 240 people in that shift, and it was, I mean, the doctors could, like, come out and go get a coffee and, like, chill, and everybody's hanging out and talking to each other. It's like, this is not what I thought it was in my mind.
That's good for the doc to know. I feel like a lot of people feel the pressure of high volume automatically means more stress, but um, what do you think is like the typical bottleneck for somebody that's trying to get to that mark? Let's say that an owner is at the, we'll say for sake of example, 4 or 500 number. What typically is the constraint that isn't allowing them? I mean, you mentioned one of them is like their belief, but other than their belief, let's say they believe it's possible. What do you typically see?
I think let's use a scenario of a the guy is the chiropractor, his wife is the spouse that's helping him grow the practice or start the practice, and there becomes a division where the wife stops helping with the practice and she starts focusing on the family. And in order to get from 500 to 1,000, you got to be there more nights, maybe adjusting Fridays and Saturdays and doing events on weekends. And it becomes this push pull against, am I choosing my business over my family? I think that's where it breaks down. And we were we were in the mindset, I say we as my wife and I, we were just going to do it together the whole time because we saw this breakdown in other couples. So if I was there, she was there. If we were there, we had kids, they were at all our events. If I was at the office till 10 o'clock, she was there with me. And I think that is the only way it was possible. Otherwise, I would have never made it, probably, like, being, if I had to be apart from her for that long. And it made it so fun. Like, the celebrations were so fun. It wasn't like she was wishing I wasn't there and I was wishing I was one place and not. It was, we were doing it together. Like, the whole thing was together. It was built together. It was driven together, and we scaled it together. But she really understood what I had to do, and I really understood what she had to do because we, like, lived it together. And I think that's a thing that's really important that oftentimes gets overlooked.
Yeah, trade-offs, right? Is that we forget that there are trade-offs to the things that we desire. It's the I just heard, I don't know if you know, you're a marketer, you know who Seth Godin is probably, right? He
Yes.
was yeah, he was just talking about that. He just came out with a new book about that topic of how we the word that gets in the way is but. It's like, I want to be a successful entrepreneur slash business owner, but I also want to be an amazing dad or mother. Okay. Like, there's trade-offs, right? Like,
So you know what this is I think where it breaks down, Corey, is clarity and vision. Who's driving the vision for your life? I think when it comes to couples and marriages, the wife will get on board if she feels confident that the husband has clarity in where we're going and what we're doing. Which is, you get to 500 a week, it's like, well, what are we doing? Like, we just gonna keep doing this forever? Like, are you gonna hire somebody? Are you gonna work? I mean, I did a doctor's report every night of the week and Saturdays for 3 years, like every single night a group report. We'd adjust till 7. Well, we closed at 7. The doors would lock at 7:30. We'd start the report. I get done with the report at 9. That's back in the day when you do a 90-minute doctor's report, a group report. Plain film X-ray. We're analyzing the films by hand with a Gonstead ruler. We do all the report of findings individually afterwards. We wouldn't get out of there till 10:30, like literally every night of the week. And I think at that time we knew we were growing to 1,000. Like, we were just doing whatever it took to get 1,000. We were racing our friends on who could get there faster.
mm,
And we just knew that's what it was take. So she was on board. I was on board. We got to 1,000, and you're like, awesome, we got to 1,000. The next morning you wake up, everything's the same. And you're like, well, we did it. Everything's the same. So where are we going now? And it's reestablishing the vision on, like, okay, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Where's the goal? How long is it going to take? Are we both on board? If she wasn't on board, then we change it, like, okay, how do we make this? And I think it breaks apart when there's a lack of vision and there's lack of communication and there's no leadership in the home, even spiritually and in business. Like, all of that has to align when you have a partner.
how have you found the best ways to get vision on that? Because I agree, 1,000% agree. Actually, one of my favorite people, I'll say, on the planet is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's got a great book called Useful, but he talks a lot about that, about like everything he's ever been able to accomplish, from bodybuilding to actor to politician to writer to all the things, everything starts with vision, period. And I'm curious, is like, do you have a process? Like how would an owner, because I agree. I think a lot of people don't know where they're going. And if you don't have some clarity, it's never going to be crystal clear. But if you don't have some clarity on where you're going, the default answer is always more. And
Yeah.
that's kind of dangerous at times. I'm curious how you figure that out.
Uh, Honestly, usually for me, it starts with our marriage. Like, if our marriage is strong and we're on the same page, we're not. in disagreements as much. We have more fun. Like life is better when it's not. I usually know, okay, something's breaking down here. Like, and there's sacrifices. Like it goes in seasons. It's not like it's going to be like this forever. I mean, we have 6 kids. We went through so much crazy stuff, like crazy health issues with kids. Plus, we launched Sked while we had another kid, while we were building a house, and we were running a 1,000 week practice. Like we've been through so much craziness, and that's kind of my uh I don't know what you call it, like my scale. Like the marriage has to be strong and solid, and if it's not, then I gotta sit back and think, okay, what am I not doing, and what am I not communicating? Do I need to take time to really get clarity on what the heck we're doing and the vision for this? And then it's a whiteboard session, like with your wife, not like a date night. This was horrible. If you use date night to like catch up on business, bad, bad, bad. So we had to like schedule work meetings. I mean, just like you'd have the quarterly, stuff for your business, you have that for your marriage and your family. If you start there, then the business stuff just comes so much better.
Props on you, man. That's hard for us at times, I'll be honest. I mean, we're good about always having dinner together every night, but there's rarely a night we're not at least somewhere talking about business and things of that nature. But um, so what's the moment you decided to stop being the actual doctor who sees every single patient and start building a business that can actually run without you? Because like 3 years, okay, that's a long time, and to be doing 1,000 patient a week type practice, and then at some point, obviously, you made the decision to stop being the bottleneck, essentially. What was that moment like for you?
As soon as I was the bottleneck, as soon as I realized that I was the one that was getting in the way of our ability to make a bigger impact in our community.
How'd you recognize that? How'd you know?
Uh, I think the biggest week I saw on my own was like 1,050 or something, and there was no more hours in the week to adjust. Like I couldn't physically work harder. There was hours, but they weren't hours that people would come in. It was like there's nothing I can do to see more people. I can't move any faster with my technique. We were as efficient as we possibly could be, and uh we expanded our space. I think that was a big one. Like we finally were able to expand our space in our building, and I went from 3 adjusting rooms to 4 adjusting rooms, and then we went from 4 adjusting rooms to 8 adjusting rooms. And now I had the ability to have another person in there and work simultaneously with them. Whereas it wouldn't have worked. Two docs in 3 rooms is just a disaster. Like we step on each other, just not efficient. So I think part of it was that, like, growing to a point where you had the finances and we could afford to expand, and like all of that along the way was just part of the process.
What was the leadership growth that was required then at that moment? So like, okay, you recognize it. I am the issue. No one's coming in at midnight to see me, so can't do that. How did you grow past that then, though?
Seeking wisdom and coaches that have already done it. Anytime that I knew was like, okay, this is what we need to do. Who out there has done what we're about to do? And I would just go find them and ask them questions and try to learn from what they did. And I still made a bunch of mistakes, but I found a coach all along the way to help us. And good gracious, did I learn a lot from those guys that we were able to implement. That made a biggest difference.
What would you recommend to other owners now in that department in terms of like coaches, communities, mentorship? Like, how would one find one? Where do they find one? Who should they turn to? How does one figure that out?
I mean, chiropractic is pretty. If you don't know another chiropractor doing what you want to do, then you got to get involved more or have more friends. I mean, 'cause everybody knows somebody. Like we got started in Get the Big Idea back in the day. This is Dr. Rob Schiffman in 2010. We started in there, and I mean, he gave us so much confidence that we were going to just crush the world. We were going to be at 1,000 a week in a year. It was like, oh, no big deal. We're just going to go do this thing. And so I think I've had probably 3, 4 coaches over the years, like at different phases, that have done different stuff. And just finding those people, talking to chiropractors, learning, But I think something is to be said around what have you done? Like at that point when I was at 1,000 a week, if I was looking for somebody to give me advice that had an associate and they only saw 200 a week and hired, like they might be wise and successful in what they did. They just didn't do what I did. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is different. It's just totally different avenue. So finding somebody else that also adjusted 1,000 a week and then built the practice, scaled out of it, and built a business, work on the business instead of in the business. Like I think just looking at what people have done has really helped me pick good, wise counsel.
What's
And
some
then my wife has to like them too. Like she, if you're married in this, your wife has this innate ability to read people. Most women do that we kind of suck at, and it's always like, hey, what do you think about this person? And they'll tell you like way faster than what we would figure out as guys, usually in my experience. So listening to your wife.
I we had a date night this last Friday where we went to the local minor league baseball team here, and she's always like scanning. She's always like looking around and paying attention, and I was trying to like talk to her about something that was probably irrelevant and uninteresting. And I was like, "Hey, like pay attention." And she looks at me and she goes, "You know what? I'm going to save our life one day." And I was like, "You're right, but I'm going to be the one having a lot of fun." So because like she's always like, you're right, like scanning and can read and has like this innate awareness of everything that's happening in the environment that I'm just like, I'm not paying attention to, man. Like I'm just having a good time at a baseball game. I
Dude,
don't.
that's why it's like a superpower. Like I would have never been able. Like we'd have never built the practice we built if it weren't for both of us working together with completely unique gift sets. Like that's a superpower for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna ask though, in terms of like the coaching, mentorship type stuff, is there any? Has there been any like pivotal moments of, you know, things they taught you, lessons you needed to learn, pieces of advice that you've gathered along the way from coaches or mentors or people that were just like things you needed to hear in the moment that, I don't know, anything of that nature that would be helpful for other owners?
I mean, I think my biggest struggle was how to hire associates and create win-win compensation environments that they were motivated by.
Tell me
Because
more.
when I started, I was like, well, I mean, I'm motivated by seeing more people, so I'm just going to create a compensation plan that I would want. Well, not everybody's motivated by that. Some people are motivated by just consistency and like they would rather they'll still give you their full effort even if there's no bonus. They just want to know this is what I get every week that I can count on and it's repeatable and I don't have to worry about it. Whereas like I'll take way less and just give me all commission and I'll just go adjust as many people as I possibly can.
Hmm.
And Dr. Stephen Franson helped me with this a lot. And he had coached so many associates and other doctors with associates and had different associate plans. And I think that was a really pivotal moment in how we grew our practice is uh, getting that right and just learning how to compensate and communicate with your associates and your doctors as part of a team that motivates them and really creates a win-win and get everybody on the same page. So there isn't any like unsaid tension between who's working on your team and what their compensation is, and there's never any like unknowns or them feeling like, ooh, I'm not getting paid what I should get paid, or like I wonder what he's making, or like just getting rid of all of that so there's crystal clarity. We're all working together on the same mission for the same goal. Made a huge difference.
Do you create different payment plans, I guess you could say, based on the associates and their motivations and their desires? And the reason I ask this question is because I was actually literally, ironically, just talking to my wife about this the other day about how I think one of the best things you can do in a negotiation is understand that there's two things that are coming into factor. There's the price and the terms. And it's far better to be in the position that makes the terms, not the price, right? Like say, let's say somebody came to their clinic and they're like, "Hey, love the practice. I want to work here, but I want $1 million." Cool, but you're going to get that over 30 years, right? Like who's getting the better deal? The person that's making the terms, right? I'm just curious as to, is this just like an ongoing conversation you have with associates to just make sure it is a win-win scenario, or like, or how do you think about that?
So to answer your first question, yes, everyone's slightly different, but they're also objective. Like, it doesn't make sense for you to make more money and the practice make less money in any scenario. So like, I want you to make whatever you want. So you want to make 200 grand a year? Let's figure out a path to get you to $200,000 a year. Like, if you want to make $1 million a year, let's figure out a path for you to get to $1 million a year. Is it possible? Probably not. Like, can we set up something where if you do something extraordinary, you'll get there? Yeah. But like, if the practice only profits 500,000 a year, like, paying you $1 million without growing the revenue on the other side to pay for the 500,000 or like whatever. So I think it's just a honest conversation where they understand, like, hey, it's still a business. Like, you have to run a business and you have to generate revenue to get paid out of that revenue, plus everything else. And I think what's cool about a group practice with multiple associates, you got to get over one, like more than two. The hardest is just one. Once you get over two, now you create a team environment where you can leverage each other's gifts. And something happens and you need to take a week off or a couple days off, like, there's somebody there to fill in. You can train together, you can work together with certain cases, like, weird cases if you're not seeing results here, or like you can celebrate together. It just creates this really cool team dynamic that you don't get as like a solo doc by yourself in practice. And it definitely makes practicing chiropractic more fun. So getting to that point also is just a huge value driver that's not money driven, but it's culture driven. And that is a really cool part to be into.
I like it. It's funny when you were saying, is it possible or not? Because it made me think about, I don't know if you knew this, but Elon Musk has this basically bonus package for if he reaches certain milestones at SpaceX. I don't know if you knew this or not, but one of the things, one of the requirements for him to get one of these major bonuses, I think it's like 200 million in shares, which is probably worth like $1 billion or something like that. But one of the conditions is that the company has to be at market cap of 7.5 trillion, and it also has to have permanent human colony on Mars with at least 1 million people on Mars in order for him to get this
Yeah.
bonus, which is
Yeah.
like, what?
Yes.
like like it just seems so out of the reality of possibility, but if anyone's going to make it possible, it seems like it's this guy.
Totally.
Seems like it's this guy to do it.
Yes, you have a bonus of 200 million. You just have to do this.
You just have to get to Mars and have people live there.
Exactly.
Let's see. Anyways, maybe, I don't know, maybe the listener can use that for their negotiation tactics of the next associate.
And I
Yes.
would think if you're an associate negotiating, it's all about value. Like, if you bring more value than what you're asking for, it's a pretty easy yes for the practice owner.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
so you just got to look at it like you're creating a win-win too. I think too many people go into like a negotiation with what they want to win without ever even thinking about how it's a win for the other side.
100%. Yeah. I mean, to double tap on that for the listener, of like, if you are in the situation of hiring associates and trying to hire associates and people are coming to you with these expectations of what they're expecting to make, it's like, awesome. Exactly to your point, is like, cool. Let's figure out how to get you there that we can both win in this scenario, right? Like, I don't think there's anyone listening that's thinking to themselves of like, okay, if this associate can make the practice $200,000, would I pay them $100,000? 100%. Why would I not
Yeah.
do that? Like, it really is that simple at times. But I think, yeah, we maybe get stuck in what we think you're worth, market value, all this other stuff. But that's the point of a negotiation, right? Is like, that's why I said earlier about, you can have any price you want, but I get to control the terms, right? Like, how are we actually going to compensate you for that price?
Yeah, correct.
Um, anyways, but let's talk a little bit about working in the business versus working on the business. I know this is something that we have to figure out as owners, and I think we all go through this stage of trying to get ourselves out of the in the practice stuff and more the on the practice stuff. I'm curious as to like, what's your recommendation for other owners? Is how do you do that? How do you identify what you shouldn't be doing for that matter? How do you get that stuff off your plate? What are the high leverage, high priority items that an owner should be working on versus that are just distractions? Yeah, things of that nature.
Man, I think the hardest part is just the guilt of not doing it all. Because I think if you built a business from nothing, at least for me, it was, I always would do, I was there first, I was there last. I was always doing more than everybody else. And so it was like the guilt of not doing something, even though I could. But I was actually holding people back that I was trying to raise up in positions of leadership in our office by doing them, even though they could have done them. I wasn't giving them the opportunity. So for me, it was actually like an injury. I got shingles in 2016 in my eye on this family trip. First 2 week family vacation we took in like 5 years. And I got shingles in my eye, and I was like out. Like my eye was swollen shut. I couldn't see. And at that point I was doing every single doctor's report still. And I couldn't even leave like my house. And Dr. Mark in our practice had to start doing all the reports. And it was like overnight, like, hey dude, like your full-time reports now for the next 6 weeks. And he did great. He did a good job. And I was like, well, heck, I thought I would do this forever. Like I thought I was probably the best at this, and nobody can do it how I can do it. And he did pretty good job. And I was like, well, that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. And I'm like, not only did he do a good job, but it empowered him to do even better with table talk and everything else, because the group report is where you like share the mission of chiropractic. Well, when you keep doing that a lot, you get pretty spizzed up on the mission of chiropractic, and that just outpours in all your other interactions with people on a daily basis. And he improved in everything else. And I was like, well, maybe I was holding him back on his ability to be a great chiropractor in all these other ways because I was the one that was only doing this one thing. And so then I just had to like keep giving people stuff that I thought I would never give up. And you just see the same thing. You see them thrive and grow in leadership um, and everything else. And you really get to a point. For me, it was impact, because we started SCED in 2016. And if we can help other chiropractors run their practice like us and be more efficient and create a better patient experience, if I can help 1,000 other chiropractic offices who are helping hundreds of people, our impact in the world for the profession is going to be greater than me adjusting every single person in the office. Still to this day, the most fun thing that I could do is just go adjust people. And probably the easiest, least like stressful thing is just go walk in the adjusting rooms and just take care of people all day. But that's also probably my least, like, where I am now, our return on my investment of time, probably one of the least ROI things I can do, because we're making just such a massive impact in the profession with what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually reminds me of, I went to the dentist yesterday, and one of the typical person that does my cleaning was out. She was actually at another doctor's appointment or something like that. And so the primary doctor, the dentist, the main dentist of the clinic, was the one that actually ended up cleaning my teeth. And as an owner, I initially thought to myself of like, this is not worth your time. I was like, I was greatly appreciative of the fact
They
that I
did a
got,
great job.
she did, yeah, she did a great job. But it was like, I was like, there's no way this is
Yeah.
worth your time.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that, but I was thinking it.
Yeah.
But I say all that to ask the question of, at what point did you feel like there were things you couldn't get off your plate? Or at what point, like, were you just unwilling to like what things were you unwilling to let go, I guess, or just couldn't let go? Or was it everything? Like, did you like completely step out?
I mean, yeah, I let go of everything except for vision right now. Like I still own vision.
Did you hit like spots though where you're like, man, like this is just like too important, or too, I don't know, complex, or I don't know. Like,
You got to have the right people, and then you got to do it the right way. So I think there was times when I thought I had the right people and I didn't have the right people, and you let go of stuff, and then you have to have a good pulse on your business, because if it starts to go the wrong way, then okay, we got to change something. And a lot of it's having the right people, and then really growing them in their leadership capabilities, like investing in their ability to lead people. Everybody's a leader. So like every person on your team is leading somebody. They're leading practice members through education, even if they're not leading, they're not like a manager of your team. Every doctor is for sure a leader. So like books that they should read, conferences that you bring them to, like weekly doctor trainings, everything is getting the right people and investing in them and measuring the outcomes. And it's just a process of seeing that come to fruition over time that allows you to not like there's stuff that I used to look at every day. I don't look at any of that anymore because there's somebody else looking at it that. And what's really cool is when you get somebody that's better than you, like way better than you at looking at the numbers and the stats and figuring out where do we need to focus this week and getting the whole team focused on that and trained on that and motivated and compensated for that. It was like, well, I never even did it that good. And that's a cool place to be.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm just thinking of like what were the so you had wrong people, you had the wrong people and then figured out the right people. How and like how did you do that? Right. I'm just trying to get in the shoes of another owner who is going through the challenges of that, of right, of like, was it a skill? Was it a values thing? Was it a character thing? What are the mistakes most people are making when they are trying to go through this process of getting the right people with the right in the right position, I guess I should say.
All of the above. I think I've experienced. I think the litmus test is when you're trying to train somebody on something and they're just not making progress and you've exhausted all efforts at trying and you have a meeting on your schedule to like get an update or talk to them or train and you're just like this is the worst I, like looking at my schedule the last thing I want to do is that meeting right there. Then you kind of know you have the wrong person. And I think I've massively increased my speed to make a decision over the years. I think early on, you wait, and this isn't just chiropractors, this is just any business owner growing a business. You wait way too long to make a decision. Like quick to fire, slow to hire is so hard. Like you hang on to somebody and they might just ruin your entire team culture. I think that's the other thing that's super important. When you get a good culture, you have to be so sensitive to people toxifying your culture,
Hmm.
especially when you're not there all the time. Uh, Having a really good pulse on, because they're all talking and you get somebody that's negative, oh gosh, it just creates havoc in the whole practice. So consistency in your meeting rhythms and then always objective outcomes coming out of meetings and getting people to commit. So not having expectations of them, but having clear agreements on what they're going to do by when, it becomes not emotional. It's not like, hey, this isn't working out. They already know it's not working out. You don't have to tell them it's not working out because you've already had meetings and set clear agreements on this is what's going to be done by when, and this is the output that we're agreeing on, and they already know it's not happening before because they're the ones generating the data and the report to give to you to tell you whether it's happening or not. So it doesn't become like an emotional decision. It's just hey, dude, this obviously isn't working out. And usually they come to you and say, this isn't working out. Like, I'm going to go here or I'm going to do that. Or, I found this other thing. Or can I just do this and I don't want to do that anymore? Usually it works itself out that way.
Yeah. Culture is usually like this amorphous thing that people really struggle with. But yeah, I think that you described it well of just do they fit? Do they get along? Is it fun? Right? Like, do people enjoy being there? Are they doing good work? Doesn't have to be so amorphous, but it is very important. But um, what uh, what do you guys do from a patient experience standpoint? This is something that is often brought up on the show, and I'm always curious as to what practices are doing that are different from other practices, right? I think I don't want to beat a dead horse because anybody that's listened to this show has heard me talk about this a million times, which is the idea of unreasonable hospitality and that whole book and blah blah blah. We don't have to get into that, but yeah, what do you guys do from a patient experience standpoint that maybe most practices don't do?
We do a tremendous job on themes, like
Hmm.
probably more so than your average practice. We spend a lot of money on themes and we change themes every 4 to 6 weeks. So the whole office gets like completely redone. This started back when we did like Christmas. We loved decorating for Christmas. So there's a Christmas tree, there's lights all over the place, there's like blow up stuff everywhere. We do big Christmas promotions. And then it was like, well, what if we just did this for like the whole year? Just change the themes up. So That's what we did. And we have custom signs made and pull-up banners and like all kinds of stuff. Like we'll do Candyland theme where the whole office is Candyland, and we'll get stickers on the floor, and kids can win prizes, and every adjustment adds like a stringer through the office, like really pretty extravagant stuff. And it makes it so fun to come into the practice, especially if you're like Lifetime Family Wellness and you're coming once a month or every other week. It's different every time you come in, and it's something that kids look forward to. They love coming. And if your practice isn't somewhere where if you want to run a family practice and kids don't want to be in your practice, the whole family's going to quit because the mom's not going to force them to come. I mean, she might initially for like a few visits to get through whatever the issue is she brought them in for, but she's not going to keep coming. So you got to make it a place that kids want to come. And it just makes it fun, even for like single elderly people. A lot of times that's like the only time they're getting out the whole week. You know, they don't really do much.
Mm.
Some people. And
Mhm.
so to come in an environment where people are smiling, kids are having fun, other people are having fun, it's a joyful place, and it looks interesting every time you're in there. And then it gives us an excuse to educate them about chiropractic. We taught everything gets tied to the nervous system and subluxation and and how the body functions. It gives us a reason to educate consistently on the same stuff over and over, just changing the analogies based on the theme. So, and we even our text message appointment reminders are all themed to whatever we're doing in the office. Promotion is all themed, social media posts, everything ties back to that.
So do you just follow like the holiday seasons? Like what are the themes, I guess? Like how are you deciding on themes?
Uh the big holidays we follow. Other than that, we do like our birthday celebration is in August of every year. Um, we do March Madness is super fun. So we have a big Papa shot set up in the office that we give away to the family that or the kid or person who wins that. So some of it's holidays, some of it's like events, like March Madness for basketball.
Mhm.
Some of it's around our own community events. Like there's a big parade that we're in every year at the last weekend of July. So that whole July is leading up to the parade. And I mean, we really run out of time in the year to do all the things that the team wants to do for themes.
How do you operationalize this, or how do you like, you know what I mean? Do you have like a staff that'll come in and like set the next theme up, or like how do you do this?
One person is accountable, everyone's responsible. So this is, have you ever read the book Traction?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like so there's one person on our team. Right now it's Cheryl. She's accountable to themes. Everything's got to be ordered ahead of time and ready to go. She schedules a theme change on usually it's after shift on one night. Everybody, doctors, everything stays, changes the whole office out.
I love it, man. That's awesome. Okay.
Dr. Mark's the only one who knows how to set this darn Christmas tree up because it's like 15 feet tall. So he's got job security. He's like, Mark, you're putting the tree up and taking it down every year, man.
That's awesome. What's your favorite theme? Is it the March Madness one or what?
Oh man, I think March Madness is my most fun because we use torque release techniques. So our face paper is 12 by 24 pieces of paper. So then we put a basketball hoop up over every trash can in the adjusting room, so the kids get to shoot the baskets in the trash can.
Nice.
That one's so fun.
Nice.
We also did a monster. The monster truck theme is probably really fun too. We buy a bunch of monster trucks like toys, put them all over the office, and the kids get to win them for coming and getting adjusted. And then we tie that to when Monster Jam's coming into town. I think we bought 120 seats at Monster Jam this year and gave them away to all the families, a whole section. So like the whole practice went to Monster Jam. So that one's probably like close number two.
Hope you sent him with some earplugs on top of
Yes.
that, but
You got to bring your own earplugs.
jeez. What's your belief on letting patients control their own schedule, kind of to double tap on this retention piece? Because I think that uh, most owners would assume that it should be like more prescriptive, but I think you allow a little bit more control. What's your thoughts?
I have the data to back up my position on this. I think there's a difference between clearly communicating what schedule gets them the best results and then them controlling their own schedule. I want them to control their own schedule, but still stick to our recommendations, which happens. more times than it doesn't. I think there's a difference when controlling your own schedule means you come whenever you want to come. That is, it's okay as long as the expectation is they're not going to get the results that we expect them to get in the time frame that we expect them.
Hmm.
But we ran an analysis of 10 years of appointment data on everybody that had stopped coming care. Is there any correlation to rescheduling rates or cancellation rates of appointments with people stopping care? And there's zero. And we measure every single month in our Sked software, just appointment changes in the app. We can measure 3: appointment cancellations, appointment reschedules, and new appointments made. And we average over 4,000 of those events a month. 4,000, I think there's like 3,000 reschedules and then 200 cancellations and whatever the other one, 800 new appointments added in the app every single month. And over time, you graph that with visit volume, and they always track together. So the more that people can modify their appointments and change their appointments, the more visits we see in the office over 8 years. So what that tells me is it isn't somebody that is supposed to come twice a week and they're canceling and they're just not coming. It's the person who's supposed to come Monday at 10 a.m. and it's Sunday and they realize they can't come Monday at 10 a.m. and they get in the app and they change it to Monday at 4 p.m. or Tuesday at 10 a.m. And they never had to call you. You didn't have to pick up an answer. And it opens a time slot up, and somebody else on Sunday that had an appointment at 10 on Tuesday that couldn't make it now has the open slot on Monday and moves theirs to 10 a.m. on Monday. They're moving it to coordinate with what their schedule is in their busy, ever-changing life. And the more convenience and the easier we make it for them to do that, the better our compliance.
It's funny. It almost feels like another play off of the original point we made earlier about like family care and a family practice. Because I mean, again, I don't have kids, but I know people who have kids, and your schedule is very much outside of your control at times.
Yes.
So to be able to reschedule simply and easily, I could see how, I'm sure it's true for all practices, but specifically family practices, of like how important that is.
Yeah. And you got to have great availability. Like you got to be able to you have to be able to see people and allow them to move appointments. And we added a functionality where it was green if it's less than 50% capacity that time slot, yellow if it's up to 80%, and red if it's like over 80% capacity. So if somebody moves an appointment to a time that's red, they know it's going to be busy in the office. So you get some of those guys that are like only want to come when nobody's there. Well, now they can see, and they're like, well, hey, if you want to come at 7:30 instead of 7, you're going to wait if you come at 7 because everybody wants to come at the crack of the door opening. So just come at 7:30 and it's green, and then they know what to expect. So they're not disappointed when they come in. If they schedule in red, they know it's going to be busy.
Yeah. What moves somebody from active care to wellness? I know that's obviously like a massive part of your practice. And the reason I bring this question up is because a couple episodes ago, Courtney, I believe, if you know who that is, Courtney Gowan, I think her name is.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about just like membership plans, and that's how she ran her previous practice, anyways. And I've been hearing a lot more about this. You mentioned Stephen Franson and the Remarkable Practice, and I remember him actually talking about that as well, of how a lot more practices have kind of like moved to this membership style. It kind of, I don't know, makes it easier, I guess you could say. But yeah, I'm just wondering where you guys stand on, one, the membership style things, and then two, if that's like doesn't make sense, how do you get somebody from active to wellness?
So in our practice, active care is if we're actively working towards some outcome. Like we were trying to correct some issue that you're having, and we're actively monitoring how that's improving through objective findings and subjective findings and evaluations and x-rays and nerve assessments and everything else. Once whatever you came in for, and what you came for is also like symptoms that you're suffering with, headaches, whatever, but also structural. Like we take x-rays and everything to practice. So if you have a negative 10-degree curve in your cervical spine and your headaches go away in 2 days of adjusting, but you still have a negative 10-degree curve in your spine and you want to improve that, like we're going to actively work towards improving, the outcome of there. Once you get to a point where, that frequency, where we can get you down to a less frequency and still expect progress over time, that's where we usually move into wellness phase.
What does that actually look like? What does that process look like though? Like, is that like a formal conversation? Does somebody just like roll
Yeah.
into that? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Usually we set up a care plan for active care right when you start. Like we have a pretty good idea based on initial findings, like what is your active care going to be? And then when we get to the end of that and we do our eval, at that point, do we extend active care or do we move you into wellness care or maintenance care? So in our office, we call maintenance care maintenance care is every other week or once a month, and wellness care is every week for most people.
And what convinces somebody to do that, or what's the drop off rate at that moment?
It is very individual. Like it depends. Like, do you want to keep getting better, or do you want to stay the same, or do you want to slowly get worse? Like, if me personally, if I got adjusted once a month, I would slowly get worse. Like symptom wise, I'd probably be fine for a while, but at some point, I'd be like, oh dang, now I got to come back and go a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with everybody else. But like some people, based on the condition of their spine and their history and like what they do for a living, it's like, dude, if you come less than once a week, you're gonna be a mess for like you might be fine for 6 months symptom wise, and then you're gonna have to come a whole bunch and probably come more and spend more than if you just came once a week. So it really depends on who the person is and all of those factors that go into their life up to this point and what they're currently doing moving forward. And nobody's I say usually in my experience, every quarter the frequency changes for some reason. So even if you're on once a week wellness and everything's going great, usually something happens every quarter where you got to come an extra visit or two. And sometimes it's nothing it's not like a symptom thing. It's something, as a doctor checking them, you're like, based on whatever I see today, I'm like, you should come another visit this week. And I think that's just getting to know people really well and getting to know their spine and their nervous system really well and knowing what you see and the patterns you see. And you kind of know the patterns of subluxation you saw when they started care. And when you see situations that happen where they're starting to go back to those, even at once a week, it's just making good recommendations as their doctor.
Got it. Yeah, it's one of those things where as I hear more and more about like this like membership style, it's becoming more interesting to me because I think that sometimes when you just think about the efficiencies of a business and removing the requirement for these like transition periods of like active to wellness to maintenance to whatever. That's why I found the membership thing interesting. It's like, no, you're just like, you pay a membership fee, just like you do your Netflix, and you're just, you're with us indefinitely and we can adjust your plan accordingly, but you just continue to pay this membership. So I found it interesting. Just curious if it was
Yeah.
something you knew much about, but what does your internal marketing system look like? I know this is a huge driver of new patients for you guys. Do you guys have a very specific internal system in place for getting referrals from current patients, or what does that look like?
So we average 50 to 60 internal referrals a month. And I think a big driver is just the family atmosphere of it. Like that's just how we educate from the beginning. So every new person that comes in usually gets everybody in their whole family checked. So each one of those people in their family is also an internal referral now. And then the whole environment of the office stimulates internal referrals with the themes and the fun stuff we're doing, and all of the day two reports are discussing our mission and why we do what we do and how important it is to reach other people. And then getting people to leave us good feedback on Google is another huge one. Like we don't count that as internal referrals, but we get 20 or so Google referrals every month. And that's very consistent, good stories on Google. So this is one of the few places that is uncensored online is people can share their success story of chiropractic on Google. It's a personal mission of mine. If I can help 1,000 chiropractors get 1,000 Google reviews, I think it's 1,000,000 like positive chiropractic Google reviews would be pretty cool. And we're making progress. We're getting there. We're almost at 1,000, but it lives there forever. Like if you're going to invest your time, energy, and money to get somebody to give you a testimonial, if they give it to you in the office as one person, like it's gone in a week, nobody even knows it existed. If they can post it on Google, it lives there forever. And Google categorizes it and they put it up on stuff, and you can leverage, AI to take your Google reviews and create social media posts and put them on your website and flyers and graphics and SEO and everything else. So that's another big driver that we use.
What's the trick to getting Google reviews?
Just being authentic with people,
Hmm.
like, and asking at the right time and having the right heart behind it. It's because for us, it's not about, I mean, it is, but it isn't at the same time. Like, if you have headaches and your headaches go away, how many other people do you know that have headaches that should see a chiropractor that aren't? Lots. They all know, everybody that has an issue knows other people with the same issue. Somehow, it just always happens. Like, how many people you could help? Like, I would love it if you would share your story. Would you share your story on Google for me so other people that have similar issues can find this? You used to ask the question, and usually they're like, yeah, I'd totally do that. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to send you a link. I'm going to have the team send you a link, and I have a quick button on my EHR that says send them a Google review link. And then when you come in next Tuesday, I'm going to ask you about it. I can't wait to read it. Now they're like, oh crap, he's going to ask me about it too. So now I better do it. I told him I was going to do it, and he's going to ask me next Tuesday. And then they always leave a great story, usually way more than like what you would expect, which is cool.
What's the best timing to ask that question?
Whenever they share a success or a win with you.
Hmm.
It could be like on the tour. I mean, where they haven't even gotten adjusted. So it doesn't have to just be after the reeval. It's like when anybody has like a light bulb moment or a good experience or says something positive. Be like, I'm so glad you had a great experience and this is like super cool to you. Like, I'd love it if you share that on Google and just tell people.
So are you getting, I was just trying to run the numbers as you were talking through that, roughly 100 new patients a month? So
Mm-hmm.
you said 50 to, what'd you say, 40 to 50 from internals, 20-ish from Google. Then I'm assuming you maybe do like events and social as well, or where are the rest coming from?
Yeah, we do health talks. We do like 2 or 3 health talks a week.
Just local businesses or what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We do fish bowls at like restaurants.
Fish bowls. Is that really, you can put a card in there or something? What is that?
Drop a business card and win a free lunch for your office.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then are you doing social as well or no?
Just very organic. We don't do any paid ads or paid social at all.
Do you pay Google?
We do paid Google.
Both pay-per-click and LSAs or just pay-per-click?
It's a good question. Somebody else does that.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
much better at it than me.
All right, never mind.
But more and more people are finding us through AI sources too now,
Oh,
so
nice. Hell yeah.
That's cool.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious. I'd be curious as to know, you probably don't know offhand, but I'd be curious as to like what AI is and why and what's driving that. Cause that is becoming an interesting topic for a lot of clinics as well. But
Yes. I think it's going to be more people are asking AI about their condition and then where to go than Google now. I think in the next year, I think it's massive transition.
it is for sure in our circles. I think the amount of general public are still very leery of it, but yeah, it is trending that direction. You're
Yeah.
right over the years. At the moment, it's still much smaller than most people think. I think it's like 3% of households even have an AI subscription. Like it's still relatively small.
Really?
Yeah,
Gosh.
I know. That's why I said in our circles. Like if you are a business owner,
Yeah.
you are definitely using AI. But for the general population, people still just they kind of do, but they just use it like Google, where it's
Yeah.
like they're not actually using it. But anyways, as we wrap up this conversation, man, this has been great. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to hit on, or anything else that would be helpful for other chiropractic business owners that you want to make sure to touch on?
Man, I think if I can be of help to you in any way, I mean, you can reach out to me, Dr. Erik at sked.life, DRERIK at SKED.LIFE. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, send me a message. But I think if you just create clarity for yourself on what does success look like in the season that you're in and what you're trying to accomplish, and just reverse engineer that, financially, time wise, everything that's important to you in your life, and you put the same level of effort into designing your business structure, and you put that same level of effort into your family and your marriage too, you're going to have overwhelming success and joy, which is just going to make everything else so much better in your business world as well. You'll find success in that, but less comparison and more just getting clarity on what success looks like for you, um, and being able to measure that and have an outcome, and get on board with your family and your spouse on what you're trying to accomplish and do it together. You're gonna be successful.
Comparison is the thief of